Hello, I'm Jean Meserve. About 10% of Americans have diabetes. However, African Americans are far more likely to develop the disease. Here to talk about that disparity and what to do about it, we have Jared Watkin, who is Senior Vice President of Diabetes Care at Abbott, also Tracey Brown, Chief Executive Officer of the American Diabetes Association. Tracey, let me start with you. Can you talk about some of the obstacles, some of the barriers that people in underserved communities have to get treatment and care for this disease?
Yes, I mean, as you have said, Jean, diabetes is one of the most pervasive chronic diseases out there, with 1 out of 2 people in this country living with diabetes or prediabetes. When you actually start to put that lens over top of people of color, what you learn is that people of color are 50% more likely to actually have diabetes. And believe it or not, African Americans are about 2.3 times as likely to die from diabetes. And so you have to ask yourself what is really going on if you think about the fact that medicine has improved, science has improved, technology has improved, yet diabetes has not improved at all here. And so you ask yourself, are people of color genetically sicker? Well, of course not. What is happening here is this has to do with the inequity that exists. This has to do with the lack of access, affordability, and quality care that exists. When you think about people who are in these underserved communities, the incidence of diabetes goes up when you are living in either a food desert or a food swamp. When you look across America, a large portion of communities of color are in these food deserts or food swamps. So it's really a pervasive issue.
Jared, is Abbott helping to address these issues?
Yes, Gene. So Abbott develops products and solutions to address some of the world's largest health challenges. And as part of that focus, we recently published a 2030 sustainability plan that is centered around designing access and affordability into our life-changing products. And our goal is to be improving the lives of 3 billion people globally by the end of the decade. In the area of diabetes itself, like the ADA, we believe that access to breakthrough technologies should not be out of the reach for people who can benefit from it the most. So take, for instance, our Freestyle Libre continuous glucose monitor. It really is a revolutionary technology that removes many of the burdens of glucose monitoring and gives people the information they need to manage their diabetes and live healthier lives. But to us, that sort of innovation without access is frankly meaningless, which is why we took a unique approach from the start with Freestyle Libre and designed it to be both simple to use, but also critically affordable. And when we introduced Freestyle Libre to the market, it was priced at a fraction of the cost of other CGM systems. And we have introduced next generation versions, such as Freestyle Libre 2 in the US recently, with additional features such as optional real time alarms and enhanced accuracy. But we've continued to maintain that same initial low price to maximize access and affordability.
I understand that Abbott is partnering with ADA. Tell us a little about that.
So I think critically, Gene, Abbott and ADA share the same vision that all people living with diabetes should have the opportunity to lead healthy, full lives. To help address the current health and economic disparities that we see, Abbott has made a 5 million 3-year commitment to support the ADA's Health Equity Now platform. And this will help support their advocacy and community initiatives championing the right for all people, no matter what their income level, race, or background, to have access to the latest medical technology. Our Freestyle Libre technology has already transformed the lives of more than 3 million people globally. But with more than 450 million people with diabetes worldwide, you can see we've only just scratched the surface to this point, which is why partnering with such leading organizations like the ADA is so important.
Tracey, COVID has really put a spotlight on diabetes. What have we learned?
Gene, we've learned quite a bit. As you say, diabetes in this country was a health crisis and epidemic before the pandemic. And what COVID has shown us, some startling facts. 40% of the people who have died from COVID-19, Gene, have been people living with diabetes. What we've learned during this COVID time is that 50% of low income Americans have lost some or all of their income. And when that happens, it makes it very, very difficult for you to manage your diabetes and condition. 1 out of 5 people during this COVID-19 time have actually had to choose between buying food and their diabetes medicines and supplies. and 43% of people living with diabetes have delayed routine care. I believe that, everyone has the right to thrive while living with diabetes. I am someone who has been thriving and living with diabetes for 17 years. Having access to great health care and having great health, I believe, is a human right. And so everyone should have the opportunity to the latest and greatest advances in technology. For me, technology has been a game changer. I myself wear a CGM, and it has actually changed my life. If you can see that, my blood sugars are right where people who don't have diabetes, that's what I'm living right now. And it's come through access, affordable access to quality care.
Tracey Brown, Chief Executive Officer of the American Diabetes Association, and Jared Watkin, Senior Vice President of Diabetes Care at Abbott. Thank you both for joining us today. And now I'm going to hand it back to the Washington Post.